those who don't know me, I am Jack Tierney. My brother, father, and mother are all also participants in the church. You may have seen my brother reading earlier, and my father and mother are both also frequent participants in the service. A little bit more about me. I am a senior at Academic Magnet High School, and next year I'll be attending the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. For those of you that are concerned about my college football allegiances, they still lie with the Gamecocks in South Carolina. But today, I wanted to talk about a series of experiences that I've had growing up in Charleston that have shaped my journey through the church and through faith and through life in general. The first of these experiences fittingly starts when I was in elementary school. I went to Porter Gaud in West Ashley, and at Porter Gaud, they had a system of rewarding virtue. There are virtues such as kindness, forgiveness, honesty, amongst other things, that if you did this action and it was perceived as agreeable by a teacher, you were rewarded with a golden certificate that was signed with your name on it that said the virtue and the act you did. This first occurred to me when I was in math class. When I was in math class in first grade, I had a girl, I don't remember her name, but I was paying attention, taking notes, and I looked back and someone had drawn squiggly lines all over my brand new sweatshirt. We were then both called into the office to explain what happened, and they asked her, "What do you say?" And she said, "Sorry," and they go, "What do you say?" And I said, "I forgive you." And somehow, even though I was sort of led to it, this was deemed worthy of a virtue voucher. This gold certificate guaranteed that at the virtue voucher lunch, which happened once a semester, me and my mom could go get a special meal that was separate from the rest of the cafeteria. But 2 years later, in third grade, something disappointing happened. 2 semesters had gone by, and I hadn't received a single voucher. I was confused. I hadn't gotten any less kinder. I hadn't forgiven any less people. I certainly hadn't become any less honest. So I was confused. And even more disappointed that I couldn't go to the special lunch at the end of the year. But now, when I look back at experiences like that, I've come to understand that oftentimes virtue or kindness isn't guaranteed by a piece of paper. It isn't guaranteed by someone watching over you. It isn't recognized solely by the physical and materialistic concerns that we're so often worried about. That was an experience that I had at a young age that's guided me in my faith to recognize the true value of doing something not because of a voucher, but because of the inherent virtueness at heart. The second experience I had was fared when I was in middle school. When I was in 6th grade, I was prompted with the opportunity to join Battle of the Books. It is just as uncool as it sounds. Over the summer, we were tasked with reading a list of books. And when we come back from school in the fall, we were going to travel to a competition and compete with other kids in our school, about who memorized facts from the book the most. But being as I was in 6th grade in summer, I was doing everything but reading until the last 2 weeks. Now, my mom, being as wonderful as she was able to procure every single book and set a timeline for me to read in the last 2 weeks before the competition, so I could become prepared. And I don't remember much, but I do remember one book I read. I won't contain any spoilers for any young people that might want to read it. It was Mr. Lemoncello's Library. And when reading the book at the beginning, I was prompted that if I paid attention to every single page and sifted through all the hints, I would be able to find out it was a mystery book. I would be able to find out the mystery before it was revealed. So I paid attention, I read through every single page, I would reread pages, but at the end, I ended up finding out what the mystery was at the same time as everyone else. I didn't get the clue. But at the end of the book, it explains what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to take the first word from each chapter and put them together to form the mystery. I thought that was silly, as even if I did that, I wouldn't understand until the end. And while I still disagree with the writing style of the book, that has helped me understand something that is so natural to our life. Oftentimes, through the chapters of our lives and the different sections, we receive hints and clues that at the time don't make sense. I can't tell you how many times some event has happened to me, and I've questioned why, or what, or where will this put me in the future. But often, just as the book as I was reading, you're not supposed to understand. Because if you understood in the middle of the book, that would spoil the mystery. Life continues as a book does, and each part can often get more interesting. But it's not about figuring what it all is about as soon as you can, but more appreciating each and every hint for what it is, and when you go through, the full picture will form. The third experience I had took place in high school. After, in the 8th grade year at Portugal, I decided I want to transfer to Academic Magnet High School. Lots of my friends were very surprised as I would increase my workload. But nevertheless, starting in 9th grade, I started high school. I was warned by everyone that it was going to be difficult, that I might not be able to compete with the workload. And there's definitely times that I struggled. But one thing I'll never forget is the test. Through my high school career, and I'll note I'll have my last exam on Thursday in Spanish. Callie, I might need some practice with that. But that will complete probably the 600th test I've taken in my career. And each test, I've always thought, wow, there's always been a question I wish I knew the answer to. I wish someone from above would just come on this page and circle it. But like books, that's often not what life is about. And that's sort of shaped my view of the church and my view of God. He isn't someone that comes down and circles an answer for you or tells you what you're supposed to do. He's not someone that fixes all your problems as soon as they have them. But instead, as I've experienced life, as it often is as a series of tests, what God has given me that is not the answer is the motivation to keep going and to push through every single problem, test I've faced, both in school and the real world, a mentality I'll sure to keep throughout college. Now, these stories seem rather disconnected, but the one key thing that pulls it all together is growth. I can confidently say that in both lower school, middle school, and high school, I've been completely different people. I've been shaped and changed by the ebbs and flows of each experience I've had throughout my entire life. But the most important thing I've gained through every single lesson I've learned is the ability to look back, be it a week ago, a month ago, or a year ago, and say that I've learned and grown from who I was at that moment. That, after all, is what it's all about. It's not about comparing yourself to other people. It's not about setting benchmarks and saying you've been better than this person. It's about being better than you were yesterday. And that is something I think we can all strive to do. And something that I've done with a large part of help from my mom. Happy Mother's Day. Amen.